Hey, yo, let's get right to it, basically. Yes, the Knicks are in the East Conference Finals. And yes, if you've seen my other videos, I have basically said that the only way I'll consider Jalen Brunson a tier one is if he gets the team to the conference finals at least. However, however, as true as I can say to that, the only problem is though I can't do that because of the way they won. Yes, he did the last minute heroics. That was great and all that stuff. I won't deny that. The question is they didn't have Tatum. The Celtics pretty much didn't have Tatum for those last two games, anyways. With Tatum there, I have a feeling they would have gone to 7 games because, like, quite honestly, it's the same thing with what happened last year. The Knicks got over and beat Philadelphia, the Philadelphia 76ers with Embiid and Maxey. Embiid, of course, was only 50%. Had it been 100%, my feeling is the Knicks probably would never have beaten them, basically. Same thing with the Celtics. The Knicks were pretty much all healthy. The only difference is with the Celtics, they were half depleted. I mean, Porzingis had whatever type of flu he had, whatever type of virus he had that was going, affected his game considerably. Tatum getting injured. Brown felt like he was only playing 80%, and like Drew Holiday as well too. I mean, like it felt like the Celtics weren't running on all cylinders, and it had me a little, wondering. Like the Knicks barely beat out the Celtics in these games, except for the last game, they barely beat them out, and it feels like because of the fact that the Celtics weren't at 100%, which comes back to this feels like another trap of what it was like last year, where the Knicks beating the 76ers facing the Indiana Pacers, they're like, all right, we should have the Indiana Pacers. We should be going against the Celtics at this time. So all we got to do is beat the Pacers, and that's it. And then the problem is we didn't. But then at that time, OG Anunoby was injured. We didn't have a Mitch Robinson at that point as well. So now this time, we have both OG and Mitch Robinson. The only difference is you saw in the Celtics series that when Brunson is tired, you could see his level of play go down, similar to Josh Hart. And then the problem with the Pacers is the matchup for the Pacers against the Knicks is the Pacers they could play all 10 men because they have a deep bench. They could play all 10 and they could go up and around down the court very quickly. That's why they're a fast-paced team is because they have 10 men, so they could go up and down the court, fresh legs and such. Whereas the Knicks, to Tibbs's credit, these 7 men have run this far, but it's hard to say what they can do with the Pacers. But at the same time, they didn't have OG. There was no Mikal Bridges at that point, and there was no Mitch Robinson. You now have Mitch Robinson and OG, a healthy OG Anunoby, and hopefully he's healthy in this series as well too. Doesn't get injured. And you got a Mikal Bridges. Both Mikal and OG, they're great defenders. They're going to need to score a little bit more. But I think the key to this series, of course, the key to this series more than anything else is Cat has to score 20 points, at least 20 points each game, whereas Brunson has to score at least 30 points. Those two, if they can score 30 points, 30 and 20 points per game, I think the Knicks should be able to, get past this series. I won't be surprised if this goes to 7 games, quite honestly, because like from a Knicks perspective, yeah, the Knicks should be able to sweep them. But the reality is like I'm feeling it's going to be 7 games. Like the Indiana Pacers, for whatever it is, whenever they're in the playoffs, they turn it up a notch. The other aspect is from a Pacers perspective, Tyrese Halliburton has to score 25 points a game every game, basically. I think for them to stay in it, he has to score at least 25 points. It has to have at least 10 assists, but also a few steals. Again, with the Knicks, as I said, Brunson has to score at least over 30 points a game. Cat at least 25 points. I think if Cat scores 25 points a game as well as Brunson scoring 30, 35 points a game, I think that the Knicks should win those games outright. Because when Cat has a good game, the Knicks win. but it was similar to what it was when Cat was with the Timberwolves. When he was with Minnesota, when Cat played well, they won. When Cat didn't play well and it was just all on Ant Man, it's one of those things where he could only do so much. It's similar to what it is. Yes, now granted, yes, I'll say this: Brunson is the catalyst for this team, but I think we know that Hart is the soul of the team because his play reminds you so much of what Charles Oakley was. When Oakley was on, the Knicks were really good. Hart, if he can play up to his capability, if he plays what he did the way he played against with the Celtics, except for Game 5, outside of Game 5, yes, look for really to do really well. But the thing is, I think it comes down to these two players, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. If they can defensively stop Halliburton and Sakeem and I forgot the white dude's name. That's probably going to play against Hart. They can, hold them off and let Tyrese Halliburton be the one to beat you. I think the Knicks should be able to win this in 6 games again. Will it be done? I don't know. It's hard to say. Honestly, I was hoping for the Knicks to play against the Cavaliers. Why? Because I think if it was a better matchup for them at that point. But the problem was, Cavs had injuries. Donovan Mitchell, whatever it is. So it kind of sucks from that perspective. It was going to be interesting to see if the Knicks, if they are able to get past the Pacers, how they fare well in the finals against either. If I'm a Knicks fan, I'd rather see Minnesota over the Thunder. Why? Because the Thunder just too deep and talented. They're just way deep and talented. Give me 1 second. I gotta answer this call. Sorry about that. I had to answer a phone call. But in any case, Siakam and I should look it up, but I'm not going to. We know it's the white dude basically that held Hart and Brunson in place in check. It comes down to that basically. Like if I'm the Knicks fan, I would love to see the Knicks going against the Timberwolves. Would that be a great matchup? Sorry, yes. From a perspective of each of the two teams that had the trade, it becomes a win-win situation for both of them at that point. Because they both made it to the finals, but at the same time, the Knicks lose, and Randall and DiVincenzo turn out to be the heroes of the game or the series. Yeah, you kind of then look back, it's like, oh, we had Randall. But let's be honest, Randall with the Knicks, when it came playoff time, he wasn't that great. He always faded away, or two, he had always, whenever he wasn't on, he would mope around or whatever it is, and he would take the rest of the team with him. DiVincenzo, yes, I prefer it. I really would have loved Dante to stay with the Knicks. I prefer if the Knicks not had traded him, but unfortunately they had to get Cat. If he becomes a free agent next year, I can't remember what it was, but if he does, look for the Knicks to re-sign him basically, or two, the Knicks try to trade him to bring him back, because Dante with the Knicks, it shows. Unfortunately, it's showing what he did with Minnesota. In the beginning, you're seeing that he wasn't knowing he didn't know what to do, or he was trying to figure out his role. Now he knows. He's done really well. Even Anthony Edwards is realizing Dante's worth. And I think we as Knicks fans, I would have loved to see him played with Cat Williams. Honestly, I hate to say it, but between Dante and Charles McBride, I probably would have traded Charles McBride, honestly, because I think Charles McBride, Deuce McBride, basically, he deserves that chance to flourish as a starter. But in any case, I'll leave it at that. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. It's going to be really interesting to see how this works out, quite honestly, for this series. We'll have to wait and see it on Wednesday. But for me, my prediction, I see the Knicks winning in 6. I would not be surprised if it goes to 7 games. If it does go to 7, then look for the Pacers to win. I hate to say it, but if it goes to 7, I think the Pacers win it. The Knicks have to close them out in 5 to 6 games. Quite honestly, I think that's what it comes down to. Between the Oakland between the Thunder and the Oklahoma City Thunder and Minnesota Timberwolves, I could see the Thunder beating the Timberwolves in 5. I could see him winning him in 5 because it was the way Oklahoma beat them last year. No, that was Minnesota. No, honestly, yeah, I could see Minnesota. I could see Oklahoma winning this year, this time around, and going into the finals one more time. But only time will tell. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Let me and please leave a comment in the comment section. And I do read all my comments. I do respond to them. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, I do ask if you hit the subscribe button. That'd be great. But with that, I'm hoping to make some more videos down the line, but it's just taking a bit longer. I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, of course. Well, before I close off on that, I'll say this. Stephen A is a massive, massive hypocrite. Massive hypocrite. Let's be honest. This guy has such an ego. His hypocrisy is beyond galore. I mean, this is a guy that said, so long as James Dolan is the owner of the New York Knicks, he said he would never, outside of for work, he will never step foot in the garden to watch a game. And lo and behold, game 6, where was he? At courtside. Courtside. So don't call me up and says, like, yeah, I was there for the game. The BS, man. That's a massive hypocrisy. Massive hypocrisy. Because, let's be honest, 2020 or 2019, whatever it was, or 2019, when they were in the playoffs, he was still not in the garden. He was outside of it in LA, still able to, produce whatever it is. This guy's a massive hypocrite. Now, I'm not taking anything away from James Dolan, but if I'm James Dolan, I call him out. If the Knicks get into the finals, I ban Stephen A. Smith from Madison Square Garden. I ban him. I mean, granted, you banned Charles Oakley, but you ban Stephen A. for bad-mouthing you all throughout the entire trips. Now, granted, for me, I hate James Dolan. I'll always hate James Dolan. He's a horrible owner. The only reason why they're doing this, the only reason why the Knicks are this good is because of Rose. Let's be honest. Rose, as the president and GM, he's the reason why. I think that was one of the smartest decisions that finally James Dolan did. And Rose, I think, knew how to maneuver his way and just keep James Dolan out of the spotlight, per se. Not out of the spotlight, but outside of muddling his fingers into the Knicks roster. And that's great. Quite honestly, I hate to say this, but the Knicks needs another Jerry West. They need a Jerry West. I thought Phil Jackson was that person, but he's not. It turns out he was not that person. It sucks, but it probably could have been. He was trying to be another Jerry West, but he wasn't. Similar to Pat Riley, he thought he could be another Jerry West, but he is. I don't think they both could recognize talent. Quite honestly, Jerry West, let's be honest, this man can recognize the talent. He knows and recognizes talent when he sees it. Undeveloped, or others won't be able to see how they develop, he knows, and he could see it basically at that point. Quite honestly, I think if not for him, let's be honest, Stephen Curry would not be with the Golden State Warriors. I think if being that Jerry West was an advisor to Golden State, he basically says look, if you want me to advisor, do not trade the pick. You better get basically Stephen Curry. Because Steph Curry, honestly, if they would have traded him off to, I think it was the Clippers, or the Kings, one of those two. And the fact is, they were ready to trade him off again at one point. They were ready to trade off Steph as well, too, after that first injury. I hate to say it. Put it this way. Stephen A. Smith will never be a GM, never will be one, never will become one. Can he commentate? No. Is he allowed to? Yes. Should he be getting paid this kind of money? It's hard to say because, I'll be honest, Shams and Windy are worth their money. They get all the information that they need. I think they're the right approach for basketball players. Sorry, basketball for the NBA as well as WNBA maybe, but the NBA. But outside of that, I'll just leave it at that. That was one of those things where it just drew my ire at that point. But I'll leave it at that. Again, unfiltered, unedited, and of course, always unrehearsed. Until next time.